Thank you for watching KTN Prime. Welcome back. We continue with the conversation on where the country finds itself 7 days after the death of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, especially the ramifications in the political class. Just how is ODM? Is it united, the united opposition? How will it move forward as we approach 2027? Welcome on set, Fanyamambo. And Raila Odinga's death, one would say, has changed how politics will be played in the country, because you look at ODM, it seems as though it is divided. You look at the united opposition as well. Just how has that death changed politics in the country?
A very good evening, and thank you to you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to be here. A very good evening to our viewers, and especially huko kwetu Dagoretti South. Unajua kila mtu kuna mahali ametoka. Sasa watu wa Dagoretti South wanatuambia mbunge mtarajiwa, usipotusalimia tutakunyima kura. Kwa hivyo the people of Dagoretti South receive my warm greetings. I'm happy to be here this evening for us to have this conversation. Now, you see, there has not been an election in this country where we've not had change. When you look at 2002, there was a lot of change that happened, a lot of realignments, a lot of, like, who knew about NARC, N-A-R-C, before 2002? You come to 2007, and people are speaking PNU. It's formed, it's fresh, it takes over power. You come to 2013, there is TNA. It comes, new alliances, people who are strange bedfellows, they could not see eye to eye. Now they are together, they form government. You come to, 2013, 2017, even 2022. Who would have thought, for example, that William Ruto and Musalia Mudavadi, who used to say Nasahau, would be in the same formation? So the transition of Raila Odinga is one sad thing that has happened to the nation. But at the same time, it is something that was bound to happen to anybody who is alive as a human being today, because life and death, really, it's an issue that we do not have control over. Ini mambo ya Mungu. So I think the most important thing, and my prayer now, is that the passing on of Raila Odinga leaves us a united nation, leaves us as a happy country, and leaves us as a country that will not speak from tribal lines. That is the only prayer we have right now. That the players who are there will be more cautious, they will be more serious and more deliberate in trying to bring about cohesion than bringing about a despicable tribal narrative across the nation.
And you know, when you talk about the cohesion in the country, for unity, to fight ethnic tribalism in the country, and negative tribalism rather, you look at what has happened and the statement by Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga, and it's a sad situation. And with that now there are calls. He has apologized. He has stepped down, as he has resigned as the COG deputy chair, but there are calls for him to resign as a governor altogether, because people do not want to associate with his sentiments. Just where do you sit with what was said, and how would you respond to that?
To start with, the sentiments by Mutahi Kahiga are his personal sentiments. What he said, he ought to take responsibility for it as an individual. However, having said that, there has been a deliberate attempt by elements within government to make it, or within whatever circles, to make it look like it's a community affair. And I would want to ask a few important questions. There was a time when a member of parliament who is of Somali origin said that if he was in charge of security in this country, he would kill 5,000 Gen Zs. Why did we not hear people saying that wa Somali wako na ukabila wanataka kuua Gen Z?
But Kinuthia, one would say...
Let me explain it even better.
Before you even proceed, but one would say two wrongs don't make a right. So fact that then it happened does not give Mutahi Kahiga the right to say what he said.
I started by saying what Mutahi Kahiga said was wrong. What he said was only attributable to him. We do not agree with him. We do not celebrate what he said. But this is the angle I'm bringing. A Somali-speaking MP comes and says atrocious things against the young people of this country when he said he would kill 5,000 young people who are demonstrating. But we don't hear Kenyans saying it is Somalis. They make sure it's an individual responsibility. An MP whom we all know from the Kalenjin community comes and says that hata wasipigwe risasi ya mguu wauliwe kabisa. We don't hear Kenyans saying that it is the entire Kalenjin community that has got a problem with young people. But when a Kikuyu-speaking MP, or governor, sorry for that matter, says bad things about Raila Odinga, you want to attribute those things to the entire Mount Kenya, to the entire Kikuyu, and you want to say those are Kikuyu speaking that way. I mean, let us be fair. If when a Somali says we'll kill 5,000 people is not attributed to the entire Somali community, then let us not attribute the words of Mutahi Kahiga to the entire Kikuyu population. You know, let us say those are his words and those are not our things as Kikuyus. And I'll tell you something else, because this thing is very well calculated. Yes. Don't think it's an accident. By who? There were plans to have young people demonstrating on the streets, saying do not touch our governor, saying muna tuingilia. Because the whole idea, let me tell you, that would make these people within the UDA administration survive in 2027 is to be able to pull a card that pits the Kikuyu against the Luo. And I want to say it in this studio and I want to be on record. Mimi kama fanya mambo Kinuthia, I am vying in Dagoretti South. The number of Luos who are there is very high. Na tunapendana. My mechanic is Luo. I buy fish from a Luo. I eat at their restaurants. We are friends. When Raila died, we all mourned together. They know the position I have held about Raila Odinga very passionately, to the point of voting for him and campaigning for him when every other Kikuyu told me that that was a stupid idea. And actually I lost for being in the Azimio side. But I am happy because I did not lose my head and I did not lose my cool. So I want to appeal to every Luo out there and every Kikuyu out there. Please, our enemy is not one another. Hakuna Mjaluo akona shida na Mkikuyu. That needs to be very clear. Ile shida tuko nayo hii Kenya ni university funding model. Ni history ya HELB, ni history ya SHA. Ile shida tuko nayo Kenya ni airport yetu inataka kuuzwa. Ile shida tuko nayo Kenya, they have passed privatization bills they want to steal from us, our parastatals. Ile shida tuko nayo Kenya ni administration ya William Samoei Ruto. Kwa hivyo nawaomba, kama wewe uko hapo nje na unaongea Kikuyu, usimuone Mjaluo kama yeye ndio shida. Na kama wewe ni Mjaluo uko pale nje, umekutana na kijana Mkikuyu, usianze kusema Wakikuyu wanafurahia kifo cha baba. I mourned the death of Baba. I voted for Baba. I have spoken so many times passionately about how I feel about the person of Raila Odinga. So we are not going to fall for that trap. Na mkiona watu wachache wana demonstrate in support of Mutahi Kahiga, they are not our people. Just know those ones have been mobilized by people who want to push that tribal narrative of pitting the Luo against the Kikuyu, and we shall refuse.
Fanyamambo, you see, this entire conversation as we have it, you realize that Mutahi Kahiga is a politician. You look at those who are equally allegedly funding the youth to come and do whatever it is they want to do. Again, it is the political class. And for a very long time, it has been said that the political class is the one that is funding negative ethnicity in the country. They are. And at this particular point, if you look at what was said at Raila Odinga's burial, speaker after speaker, that he was a Democrat who was not afraid of forgiving and even extending hands to bring those who would be sworn enemies to work together. So then how do we learn from this man's legacy and embed that into our day-to-day activities, including in the political space? How do we then push and ensure that this unity that we fight for, that Raila Odinga was fighting for, becomes a part and parcel of our daily cup of tea?
Can we have a conversation about Gladys Wanga? She comes and says that from where she sits, anybody who associates with Mutahi Kahiga and Rigathi Gachagua for that matter, because she had to loop in Rigiji into this, I don't know why, is going to be an enemy of ODM, and that person should never set foot in Luo Nyanza, and so on and so forth. She's out of order, because the Baba we know never demarcated this country. The Baba we know never blocked Kisumu or Bondo or any other place and said, do not come to Bondo. Today I saw the Kikuyu Council of Elders in Bondo, and they had gone to visit the family of Mama Ida Odinga. When Mama Ida Odinga is mourning, she needs people who are coming to give her love, words of comfort, and condolences, and to tell her pole, plus her family. So now any other person blocking people pretending to say, hawezi kuja kuomboleza na familia, what kind of a human being are you? So I'd like to say, before we speak about the person of Mutahi Kahiga, let us ask ourselves, huyu mtu ni wa chama gani? Mutahi Kahiga is a UDA governor. Kwa hivyo UDA tunawarudishia governor wenyu. Go and discipline your errant governor. These are UDA manners. These are UDA tabias. This is how UDA people carry themselves. And wewe Cecily Mbarire umekuwa ukisumbua watu unapiga kelele huko Embu. Come deal with your errant member. Mutahi Kahiga has never been seen anywhere. He's not a member of ODM, by the way. He's not a member of DCP. Mutahi Kahiga is not a member of Wiper. Mutahi Kahiga is not a member of any political party that we know. Mutahi Kahiga is a member of UDA. UDA chairman wao ni nani? Cecily Mbarire. Sasa, when Wanga comes and says that she's not going to work with anybody who is associating with Mutahi Kahiga, the first people who are working with Mutahi Kahiga is UDA. Is Gladys Wanga saying she's not going to work with UDA? Because she needs to be clear. Alisema anybody working with Mutahi Kahiga, she's not going to work. Na akasema atimbaka amechora line. Unajua tukiwa watoto vile ulikuwa unachora ka line hivi unasema vuka hapa. That's what Gladys Wanga is doing. So we are telling you, Gladys, go and tell Cecily Mbarire that you're not going to work with Mutahi Kahiga and you're not going to work with her because he's a UDA governor. As far as we are concerned, he's actually not a member of the United Opposition. So people keep spinning it and saying, oh, ni watu wa Rigathi Gachagua. No, Mutahi Kahiga ni mtu wa Cecily Mbarire, ni mtu wa UDA, ni mtu wa William Ruto. And these behaviors, by the way, are UDA behaviors. The way you are looking at him, hizo ni tabia za UDA. Yao ndivyo wanajibebanga hivyo. Huyo ni governor wa UDA, abebe msalaba kama UDA, na hiyo chama iende mu discipline. That is their member. Yeah.
Is there a solution to getting rid of the negative tribalism that you see in the country? Because remember, the Constitution recognizes all these tribes that we come from, that we belong to. Moving forward to 2027 again, how do we deal with that?
There is no negative tribalism. As we are speaking right now, there is a Kikuyu sleeping in this bed, and he has just called his mechanic or the person who owns a garage who happens to be Luo, or there's a Luo guy who has just called his driver who happens to be a Kikuyu, and he's telling him, drive me to Kisumu tomorrow morning. Hii ujinga iko kwa wanasiasa tu. It's just those people at the top there, and they are very few, and we can identify them. As we speak right now, there is a guy who is in traffic, he's challenging, and he's calling his wife who is Kikuyu and telling him, babe, nachelewa kidogo. Hata namuita babe, nachelewa kidogo. He's forgotten there is a barrier between the Kalenjin and the Kikuyu. In fact, they have children. Unakuta mtoto moja anaitwa Chepto, mwingine anaitwa Kamau, na wanaishi kwa nyumba moja. They are brother and sister. So hii ujinga iko kwa a few politicians, and what we want to do is to name and shame them. They are very few. It's a very simple job to name 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the guys. Get rid of them. This country is okay. So mimi nataka kuappeal, and sitachoka, hata nitasema kwa Kiswahili. Kama uko hapo na wewe ni Mkikuyu, na kama uko hapo na wewe ni Mjaluo, musijaribu kuingia kwa hii trap. I beg you in the name of God, musiingie kwa hii trap ya kufanywa Mjaluo achukie Mkikuyu, Mkikuyu achukie Mjaluo over things that do not even concern us. Mimi sioni kama kuna shida ya Wajaluo na Wakikuyu. Mimi nimewaambia, your problem is this country is the governance of William Samoei Ruto. And if we can face that as our common problem, we are all facing the same university funding model. We are all facing the same lack of capitation. We are all facing the same threat of our parastatals being privatized. let us deal with the main problem. And by the way, when you speak of privatization, why, for example, like now, for example, if you look at Kenya Pipeline, which they are saying is loss-making and it needs to be privatized, Kenya Pipeline at least does make sure to some extent that we have fuel constantly. Hatukosi mafuta kama nchi zingine unakuta inauzwa na jerrycan kando ya barabara. We are a country that looks civil and well organized in terms of fuel. But we have a useless outfit in the name of State House that we give a lot of money and we don't get benefit out of it. I mean, for all the billions we pump in State House, what is the return? So if there are institutions we need to privatize, that could be one of them. It's a suggestion that we start thinking of those loss-making outfits, and that's one of them, where we pump in a lot of billions and get zero value out of. So if it is a cost-benefit analysis, then privatization should have started with such things.
You know, as we approach 2027 and 2026, our politics are getting heated up by the minute. You know, even now, the by-elections that are coming in, you look at the loss of Raila Odinga. ODM no longer seems to be united. They are pulling both sides. But then again, you look at even the broad-based arrangement. Raila Odinga was a key principle in that arrangement. His absence, how does this shake the government as we speak, or shake ODM as well in terms of moving forward without Raila? Just how has that changed the game?
You see, I want us to have a very deep conversation. IEBC told us that they are looking forward to registering 6 million.
6.3 million.
6.3 million young people. What they did not tell you is that in 2025, kuna watoto wako form 4, and there are a million of them. They've already sitting their exams. So that's another 1 million. So that's 7.3. 2026 December, because they have a right to vote in 2027 August, another 1 million. So how many million people are looking at? 8.3. From the previous elections, the total vote basket of that Luo Nyanza was about 2 million. From the previous elections, the total vote basket that voted for William Ruto was about 3.7 million. The one that voted for Raila from Mount Kenya was about, so let's say even Mount Kenya had 5 million votes, just, you know, to be moderate. And the Kamba vote, and all I'm saying is that there's such a stupid concentration on tribal votes. People have forgotten where the most important votes are. 8.3 million people is higher than what the winner of the previous elections got. If I was concentrating, I wouldn't be concentrating of this nonsense of who is in broad-based, who is not in broad-based. Kelele ya upuzi. Let me tell you, there is 8.3 million votes here that we should be looking at and asking who is controlling these 8.3 million. Fresh voters, enthusiastic. They've never voted before, and they are willing to cast their votes at the ballot. If I was doing national politics, hii kelele wanaenda kupiga huko kwote kwa mazishi ya Raila, hata apumziki na amani wanampigia tu kelele hapo. I feel they shouldn't have been making that noise there. And being in broad-based or not being in broad-based is a losing equation. The winning equation is who takes this 8.3 million votes. So mimi ningekuwa kwa calculations za ile chama ningewaambia, by the way, am I advising my enemies? Kaeni hivyo, piganieni hizo kura za Nyanza na Ukambani na Kisii na wapi. Kaeni hivyo, you lose it.
Are you worried that even as we talk about 8.3 million votes that we're discussing, that the turnout in terms of those who are coming out to register is low? And based off now that you're on ground, you're speaking to the young people, why are they not coming out to register as voters?
2 reasons. The first one, this voter registration is happening only at the constituency headquarters. In my constituency, Dagoretti, which is not really big, from the farthest corner to where the voter registration is happening, a young person will need 150 shillings. And then back, they need another 150. That's 300 shillings. Most of these people don't have this kind of money. If they were serious about enrolling young people to vote, this is an voter registration process. If it was a voter registration process, they would have decentralized it closer to the people. They would even look for churches on Sunday that have got a lot more people. They would come to the markets. They would come to the shopping centers. They would come to where young people play pool, but they are not interested. The idea is to keep it at the constituency headquarters. Ukuje ukae shida yako. I keep giving examples of constituencies like Kibwezi. It's a very big constituency. Can you imagine having one central voter registration center at Kibwezi? And how many people would need to move from one corner to the other and how much it would cost? The second reason, when you bring a Vasco da Gama or a Stone Age voter registration exercise into 2025, and then you wonder why young people are not registering. I mean, you have Vasco da Gama ideas. Let me ask you, every young person you see, including yourself, they open their bank account from their phones. You can borrow a loan of up to $500,000 from your phone. You apply for the American visa from your laptop. Everything that is seriously important to you, including lunch, you order from your phone. Everything, even when they want alcohol, they order from their phone.
Even ambulances.
Even ambulances we get from our phone. Sasa, why are we registering people in 2025 as if we are doing what Kivuitu was doing with ECK? What Kivuitu, paka unapewa kakadi kama kayo time ya Kivuitu unaambua sasa. And then you are asking why young people are not registering to vote. Because they are looking at IBC, they are looking at the voter registration process, and they are asking, who resurrected Vasco da Gama? Why are we having Vasco da Gama ideas in our polling stations?
But Kinuthia,
these are very old ideas.
Kinuthia, here's the thing. That is the process that is there right now at the moment. That is the process that is recognized by Kenyans. We'd argue in terms of modernizing it and making it up to date. But as we speak, that is what is there, and that is what will bring all these 8.3 million Kenyans on the table. So let's speak to, we have our problem with technology, but this is what is there. How do we then encourage young people to get out and register as voters?
I like your words, and I'll borrow your words. That is what is there. That is what is there. That is the process that is there. Now I am using your words. This is the generation that is there. These are the people who are there. This is the technology that these people want. This is the generation that is techno-savvy. Why are you employing old people at IBC to bring us old ideas and do things in an archaic way that wastes taxpayers' money? I mean, what was so wrong in having a few Gen Zs sitting at that table and telling them, you guys, these ideas are archaic. It doesn't make sense to register like this. So don't come and tell young people you're not registering. They are looking at you and wondering, at 2 a.m., I can borrow a loan from my bank and I can get 100,000 shillings. What is this voter registration you're telling me I can't do at 2 a.m.? It's a challenge to IBC.
It's a challenge.
So when you ask why young people are not registering, they are not registering because when they see that process, they just imagine Vasco da Gama. They see old traders akina Ibiu Batuta. They see those things we are reading in history books.
Kinuthia, Fayamambu Kinuthia is an advocate and
is a lawyer.
Is a lawyer,
yes,
of the High Court of Kenya. And as we talk about matters of importance, is let us all end tribalism, especially from the political class. Let us deal with that problem. And for the young people, as much as we have problems with it being modern or Vasco da Gama, still we encourage everybody to get out there, go and register as voters. 8.3 million, you say?
Yeah.
8.3 million Kenyans. Get out there and register yourself as voters. My name is
No,
Dennis
they'll
Aseto.
register 6.3 million.
Yes.
And
by then
2 million, yeah,
later, yes, 8.3 million. Asante sana. This conversation continues. We shall continue having that. I'm Dennis Aseto. As a language interpreter was Pretty Janet. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Good night.